But beyond money making you feel good, from today, I want you to see money as a potential employee. The same way you wake up in the morning and go to work, your money can wake up and go to work. And that is what investment is all about. And that's why we are saying that, one, work for money. But don't only use one wing. Let your money also what? Work for you. Because money can work. Money is a potential employee. So the preacher says that in the morning, sow thy seed. In the evening, withhold not thine hand. It means that you must let your money work for you all the time. So, two universal principles for creating wealth or making money is to work for money. And I think I was on a program on Joy recently. I think this Sunday we're talking about multiple income streams, because there is the possibility of creating multiple income streams. You may be working in a career, you may be getting a salary or a bonus or a commission or a combination of these things. Fine, but you can create another stream of income. You can create another stream of income. And the whole point is that you want to achieve more income, because we need larger money in the house. So you're working, you're doing good, you're a big man, big woman. It doesn't matter. You can do something else. There's a young man who was very much interested in cars. And he always was reading about cars. But he was doing his regular job. And anytime people wanted to buy cars, they would come to him and ask him for guidance. Oh, what should I look out for? And he was able to help people. Then he realized that, people are always coming to me and I'm helping them. Maybe I can get into car dealership, because he has that natural interest. And so he got into it, and it has become another stream of income to him. One of the ways you can use to identify the possibility of creating multiple income streams is to look at what your interest is. Maybe there's a hobby you have. There's something that you like doing. It comes naturally to you. Maybe you may be an architect or a doctor, but you like writing poetry. You like writing short plays. You have some natural inclination. Begin to look at that talent or that interest and see how you can monetize it. Another way to create multiple income streams is to look at how people make use of you, or how useful you are to people. Because people are coming to you, they realize that maybe you can help in this area. That should tell you that maybe there's something that you can, again, monetize. But the key thing is that you must work for money and let money work for you. Now, to do that, let me suggest some things that you must change. And I want to mention three things that you must change. Point number one, change your mindset. Change your mindset. Don't look down on any particular job. Please. I know of a young man who was working in the UK, and he came down to go into farming. I said, wow, this is powerful. In all labor, there is profit. Please do not look down on any job. I heard of a certain young man, he has recognized that no work is too low. So change your mindset. But one powerful way I want you to change your mindset, and this is especially for the young people. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 7, I think. Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 22. Give it to me. Deuteronomy 7:22. I'm talking about change your mindset. That's the first thing. Change your mindset. Then I'll talk about the second and the third. It says that, and the Lord thy God will put out these nations before thee by little and little. Thou mayest not consume them at once. Let the beasts of the field increase upon thee. I believe And that's a mindset that we must have. That God, he can do all things. By the wave of his hand, we can turn things around. He can. But he's preferred to me. I'm saying to me because that's my understanding as I read the scriptures. He's preferred. Because when he was leading the Israelites to the land of promise, he said, oh, he could have done it by the wave of his hand. But he chose not to do it. He said, by little and little. And when I talk about change your mindset, there are a lot of young people, when you see somebody successful or riding a big car, you don't know the price he has paid. You don't know the effort he has put in. And that is why there are young people, they are going Sakawa and all those things that ends up in distraction. Change your mindset and start little by little. Even when it comes to investment, some people, they think that you must have 1 million cedis or some big money. No. With a little amount, 10 cedis, 5 cedis, 20 cedis, you can start. And that is little drops of water make what? A mighty ocean. So let's change the mindset. For those who, instead of working, they are working lotto because you are waiting for one big break. When you come for prayer, when we are praying for souls, you are praying, oh God, may the lotto numbers land. Listen, God works little by little. Not that he can't. Please don't get me wrong. Not that he can't. But he's prepared because he wants his people to learn how to depend on him. Why do you think that in the wilderness, he didn't give them the manna for 3 months? He said, every day, go and pick. Because God wants us to depend on him on a continuing basis. For us to appreciate his grace upon our lives. So change the mindset. Stop looking for that one big break. Some people, instead of going to school, they are waiting for some lottery, USS lottery, something. Please, start some course. Little by little. Then the second thing you must change. The first is change your mindset. Your mindset about money, about work, okay? And then about how you make money, little by little. Then the second thing you need to change your spending habits. Change your spending habits. And my recommendation, please, start spending money on what you need, not what you want. It's very simple. If I come to your homes, I'm very sure that I'll see a lot of things you have bought, you haven't used, and till Jesus comes, you are not going to use. Because you don't really need them. I remember I spoke at a certain function where I gave some numbers. I showed how if you had a certain amount of money, and you had invested it, it will have become so much by a certain time. And when I finished speaking, then a young man walked up to me and said, oh, Rev, this thing did for me. Oh. And he gave me his story. He said he went to buy a suit. And he was treating the suit as a Christmas suit. Meaning he was waiting for a very special occasion. You know how it is like? He was waiting for some special occasion. So it means that he didn't really need the suit at the time. So he put the suit down and was waiting. And the special occasion too was also waiting. And what was happening was while he was waiting, he was eating and drinking day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. And guess what? After some years, when he went for he had outgrown the suit. So he had to give the suit out. And he gave it to a brother. But he told me that from the analysis I gave, he realized that if he had the money he used to buy the suit, if he had invested it at the time he bought the suit, at the time he had to give the suit out to his younger brother, he could have bought a suit for his younger brother from that money and still had some money left. But he didn't do that. And many of us fall into that category. We spend money on things we don't need. You can ask your neighbor, that kelewele you bought, do you need it? You don't need it. Me, I like kelewele and kebab. And when I'm approaching the vendors, those who sell it, sometimes I go into a debate. Ogbarmey, do you need it? Ogbarmey, do you need it? I debate myself. And I conclude that I don't need it. Because if I don't buy the kelewele, my wife will not leave me. I'll still go to heaven. I'll not lose my job. So I'll debate myself and then I'll move on. Of course, a few times I stop and I say, oh, man, my slave. But you see, I'm making the point that I'm talking about three things you must change. The first is your mindset, how you think about money and how you think about making money and how you see money. That's the first one. The second one is change your spending habits and start spending money on things that you really need. Things that you really need. Very important. The things you buy. Do you really need it? Change your spending habits. Also, I want to recommend that you must spend money more on assets than liabilities. An asset is something that takes away from you. An asset is something that grows in value, and a liability is something that takes away from you in a very simple or simplistic manner. And I don't know, are there any bankers here? I'm sure there are some bankers here. Any bankers here? Okay, let me ask you this question. Mobile phone. Do you think it's an asset or a liability? Liability. Asset. Liability. Asset. Liability. Anytime I ask this question, I get a mixed reaction. Because for many people, they see the mobile phone as a liability. But it's actually an asset. It depends on how you use it. It depends on how you use it. I always say that if you take a bank, the deposits, customer deposits of any bank, it is actually a liability for the bank. But they are able to turn that liability into assets. Because all the assets, the loans they create, it's on the back of the liabilities. In other words, when you meet a liability, you may be able to change that liability into an asset. So when I talk about your spending habits, change your spending habits, apart from moving from buying things that you want to buying things that you need, also begin to spend money on assets, not liabilities. This mobile phone, and many people will spend money on a mobile phone. And these days, every time they're coming out with something new. What's the latest? S8 Plus. And then you get people, they're always buying. But the thing is that many people hardly use all the features of the phone. They use it to make a call, receive a call, text, WhatsApp. That's all. You can just get a functional phone. Hallelujah. So spend money on assets, not liabilities. You want to buy a car. Don't buy a car because other people are riding on some cars. You see, when you think of, and there's a gentleman, he's called Noel Whittaker. There's a quote he gave about wealth creation. He said, creating wealth is like playing Monopoly. How many of you remember the Monopoly game? Okay. In the Monopoly game, the one who wins the game is the one who gathers most assets. So the thinking is that if you want to make money and let the money help you to finance the kingdom and to take care of your family, like I gave you at the beginning, you must learn to shift your spending to assets, not liabilities. Let me give you another controversial one. When it comes to a house, at a point, you will not need a very big house. Maybe when you are growing up, your children are, but when your children have left and you have that big house, it will become a liability. You can rather convert that house, or maybe if you can sell it and even get 2 smaller units, you can do better because you can income stream. So the thinking must be, I must spend on assets, not liabilities. The last thing about changing your spending habits is to do what I call the 2 T's. The 2 T's. Track and trim. You can't trim what you don't track. And that's the problem. Many people, including some of the people who are listening to me this evening, you don't track your expenses. If we start asking you how much you spend on credits, telephone credits, it will be a problem. If we ask you how much you spend on tips, and please, I'm not talking about become a chisel, become Armstrong. I'm just saying that track. Even how much you spend on offerings, you must track it. Please, offering, don't trim it. But you see, my point is that many times people say, oh, I don't have money for it to work for me, and so on and so forth. But you see, if you're able to track your expenses, it will help you know where the money is going. And then you'll be in a better position to trim. That's what to do. So don't just spend money without tracking. That is the problem. Don't you, or haven't you have had a situation where maybe some money came your way, some big money, some bonus, and you didn't put a ruler on it, you know that you were not tracking it, but you were taking it little by little, and then within a short time, it was all gone. And then you even begin to look at the people in your house and wonder whether some anointing bee has come upon them to start taking your money. But it's not any of those people. It is you. You chop the money. Just that because you didn't track it. Because now you wonder that, what did I spend the money on? And it's all gone. So if you're going to do a good job keeping the money, you must track. And then it will help you to trim. Somebody said that a small leak can sink a great ship. A small leak. And I'm sure we all know about the Titanic. Yes, the Titanic, I believe there's a spiritual dimension to what happened, because as you may know, on the day it was inaugurated, the captain of the ship or something had the temerity to say that this is exquisite. Even God cannot sink this ship. So they had to be taught lesson 101 on who is who. But actually what happened, it hit an iceberg, and according to what the narrative we read, because none of us were around, it was a small leak, but it was able to sink a great ship. And that's how our small expenses, you may think, oh, this one is nothing, but track and trim. It will help you do a good job managing your expenses. And then the third point, and I like this point, is very powerful. I could even spend the whole evening talking about it. That's focus on where money hides. Focus on where money hides. Some people, they are focusing, oh, I want to go to this bank. No. Listen, money is hiding in some places. And you must focus there. Even when we are going to school, our children are going to school, hey, when you go, become a doctor, become a lawyer. Yes, those professions are good. Please don't let nobody misunderstand me. But money hides somewhere. There are 3 places I want to share with you where money hides. Number 1, money hides in people's pockets. Money hides in people's pockets. What I'm saying is that, you see, if you want to make money, you must connect with people. If you're in business, you must know the people who need your product. Because the money is not on tree, it's in people's pockets. I mean, if, let's say, I decide to do what some prophets do, and I say, I'm going to the spirit, and I start calling some people, and I say, bring money. You see how the money that will come to this place. But as you sit here, we can't see that there's money with you. Are you with me? But if we do something, we'll see the money, because money is hiding in people's pockets. I'm just trying to say that if you are going to make money, you must respect people. You must respect people. Sometimes when people are loaded, when you see them, you might not see it around them. Are you with me? But money is hiding in people's pockets. So everybody is important. Whoever comes to your shop is important. Haven't you gone to some shops and the way you were treated, you said, me, I will never come here again? Because the person will not know that the money he or she is looking for is in your pocket. You don't put it on your forehead. No, you won't do that. So you have to respect people. Whatever profession, whatever work you are doing, know that the money is in people's pockets. That's point number one. Where money hides. Number two, money hides in problems. Money hides in problems. So, again, if you are thinking of multiple income streams, look for problems around. Somebody saw rubbish, bola. I'm talking about Zoom Lion, and he could see that there's money in this bola. Oh yes, he has made a lot of money. Because money hides in problems. You see, when you solve someone's problems, you create a pipeline of cash to flow to you. So money hides in problems. So number one, money hides in people's pockets. There are actually 3 P's. Pockets. Money hides in pockets. Then money hides in problems. And then number 3, money hides in products. Money hides in products. If there's a problem and you don't have a product, you can only sympathize or wish or dream. But if you have a product and there's a problem, you can release your product. We all know that given today's working environment, when you need to go to work early, breakfast, for instance, can be a problem. We all agree. Because sometimes you go to work and you're struggling, you're thinking, where am I going to get breakfast from? So somebody saw that there is money hiding in the problem, but he realized that without the product, he can't do anything. So he started packaging some food, Cocoa King, that's what I'm talking about. He just started packaging it. And the same Hausa cocoa, or Ogbarmey, or Blayo, or the whole range that he's packaged it because he's come up with a product. So money hides in people's pockets. So respect people and connect with people. Treat people well. Don't never put anybody down because you don't know the one who has got the money you need. Because money is hiding in people's pockets. Very important. And for those who are in marketing, customer service, you have to appreciate the fact that money is in people's pockets. And then money is in problems. If you are thinking of a multiple income stream, look for the problems around. Because there's money in it. And once you identify the problem, remember that money also hides in products. So you must have a product to be able to bring the money. Very simple. It's not complex. That's what it is. So, you see, but we always think, hey, I have to be an architect. And there's nothing wrong with being an architect. I have to be, but your mind, I'm talking about what you must change. I said change your mindset. Okay, that's the first thing I talked about. I said change your spending habits. That's the second when I said, rearrange your mind to focus on where money hides. After all, are you not looking for money? As you are going and coming, it's money you are looking for. So focus on where the money is hiding. In people's pockets. But don't become a pickpocket. In problems and in products. How do you plan your finances? Let me end by sharing some 4 things you can do to plan your finances and do a good job at that. 4 things you can do, and then we can take questions. Let me see what the Bible says in Proverbs 24, verse 27. Proverbs 24:27. If you can help me. Okay. Change to the New Living Translation. If you have New Living Translation. I want to believe you have it. Okay. It says, do your planning and prepare your fields before building your house. Do your planning. I'm ending by talking about planning your finances. The King James says that prepare your work without, and afterward build an house. The NLT makes it simple. It says, do your planning. There are 4 elements that must be in a good personal financial plan. And that's how I'm going to end tonight. 4 elements that must be in a good personal financial plan. It says, do your planning and prepare your fields before building your house. So planning is important. Charismatic believer, planning is important. They say, oh, as many as are led by the Spirit of God. But you see, God is a planner. Jeremiah 29:11, a familiar portion of Scripture, says, for I know the plans that I have for you. So God is a planner. So there's nothing wrong with planning. They say, oh, Jesus said, take no thought. You have to be balanced when you're reading the Scriptures. Are you with me? So plan your finances. 4th element of a good personal financial plan. Number 1, aim for financial independence. Man, woman, aim for financial independence. I've said it before, maybe not here, that you don't necessarily have to aim to become a millionaire. In fact, you can claim it, you can release it, you can do all the things we do. Not everybody will become a millionaire. But the good news is that you don't have to become a millionaire. What you need is financial independence. There are 3 ways I define financial independence. 1, your ability to take care of your basic needs without recourse to a third party. 2, you have adequate financial investments so that when you go on retirement, you can enjoy the same quality of life. 3, you have an emergency fund that can take care of you, because in life, emergencies do occur. And the experts say you must have at least 6 months of your monthly income in an emergency fund. So if you have an emergency fund that can take care of you in emergencies, if you have adequate financial investments that will ensure that when you go on retirement, you know how people use football age when they are working, but one day it catches up with them, because retirement is a certainty. It will definitely happen. So you must have adequate financial investments to ensure that when you go on retirement, you don't fall from grace to grass. And then you must be able to take care of your basic needs: food, shelter, clothing. Those are the basic needs, right? Here these days they add transport and communication because of how the economic structure has become. But if you can take care of your basic needs, you're sorted. So my first one is aim for financial independence. That's my first point. And to do that, set intermediate goals. Set intermediate goals. So for instance, tell yourself that, okay, I'm in 2017. 5 years from now, I should be here. Before I get there, I need to create an investment account. I need to do this. I need to do that. Set intermediate goals. Because if you are aiming for financial independence, I've given you 3 definitions of financial independence. It may not happen overnight, and it doesn't have to happen overnight, but you can get there. Remember, we said plan your work. So set intermediate goals to enable you achieve or arrive at financial independence. And then number 2, I'm talking about the elements of a good personal financial plan. Number 2, have a game plan. Have a game plan. There must be a plan. There must be a way by which you are going to. For instance, you can tell yourself that, look, I've heard this thing. I'm not going to just be excited, be on high. Oh, the man, he really spoke. I'm not interested in the man, he really spoke. I'm interested in you taking some action. Are you with me? So your game plan can be that, oh, look, from today, every extra income that comes my way outside of my salary, straight to investment. A plan can be, look, my tithe is 10%, and then I spend the rest on this and that and that. I'm going to introduce another line. I want to create an investment line in my expense item. So from today onwards, every money that comes, at least another 10% after giving God his tithe, another 10% will go into an investment. There must be a game plan, okay? Because if you don't have a game plan, it will become just a wish. Oh, I wish to become financially independent. As it is said, if wishes were horses, beggars will what? Ride. So there must be a plan. Your plan can be that, look, I'm committing myself to moving from spending money on things I want to spending money on things what I need. It can be part of your game plan that I'm going to make that shift. So have a game plan. Then the third one, make investment the cornerstone. Make investment the cornerstone of your plan. Because I've talked about the fact that money can what? Money can work. Money is what? A potential employee. So make investment the cornerstone. In other words, make sure that you are always putting money into investment. It must be the cornerstone of your personal financial plan. And then finally, what I've written here is that create distinct funds. And I recommend 5 distinct funds. 5 distinct funds. I recommend 5 distinct funds. So, elements of a good personal financial plan: aim for financial independence, and you can do that by setting intermediate goals. After you've had your aim, Warren Buffett, when he was much younger, he set a goal that by, I think in his 20s, he wanted to become a millionaire. And he started. When he was 11 years old, he started investing. Okay, so you have the aim for financial independence. You set intermediate goals, and then you let investment be the cornerstone. And then finally, I'm saying that create distinct funds. And I'm going to recommend 5 funds. I know I've said a lot in this short time, but hopefully during the question time, we can explore some of the areas further. What are some of the distinct funds? And I say distinct funds because I don't want you to live here and say, okay, the man said we should invest. So you say, okay, now this account is my investment account, and everything is in it. There are some different funds you must create. For instance, you must have an emergency fund. Now, an emergency fund basically is a fund that you can have access to when there are emergencies, because emergencies will happen. Okay, and for instance, it would be good to put your emergency fund in, let's say, a money market instrument or a near cash instrument, because by definition, when there's an emergency, you can't wait for long. You must be able to have quick and easy access. Okay, but when it comes to a retirement fund, which one of the funds I recommend, you do not have to put it in a near cash instrument, especially if you have many years to retirement. I mean, if you are young, if you are in your 20s or your 30s, Generally speaking, you'll be retiring at what, 60? So you have about 30 years, 20 years. You can then put that retirement fund in longer dated instruments. Okay, and that's why you must keep separate funds for these needs. So the 5 I recommend here, I talk about emergency, retirement, project or lifestyle fund, educational, and then legacy. These are the 5 funds that I recommend. 5 distinct funds. If you can do all the 5, at least do 4 or do 3. Emergency, that one, it's very good. The more you have, the better, because you can never predict when there'll be an emergency. An emergency is no respecter of persons. It doesn't respect persons. So emergency fund is important. Then retirement, because listen, recently we got some statistics that out of every 100 Ghanaians that go on retirement, only 2 or 2% can retire comfortably. 23%, they have to do some work. The rest of the people, 75%, family and friends. Because what you get in retirement is not enough. The average payout from Smith, according to data we got, I believe, beginning of this year, I think so, it's a little over 700 Ghana. That's monthly pension. Okay, so retirement will come. So please do not joke. And especially for the people I'm speaking to who are faith people, charismatic, who confess with long life, He will satisfy me. And God will satisfy you with long life. Just think about it. You retire at 60, and God satisfies you because that's your confession. You claim it, you receive it. So you get 30 years. Think about it. 30 years in retirement, no income. I mean, no regular income like when you're working. And so especially for those people who say their take-home pay can't take them home. You can imagine when in retirement your take-home pay has reduced. You perish in your own house. So retirement fund is highly recommended. And then project or lifestyle. Because everybody will have one project or the other. Okay, and then educational. I believe that education is one of the best gifts you can give to yourself and especially to your children. Education is, quality education is not getting cheaper. It's not getting cheaper, so I highly recommend for you to create an educational fund. And the thing is that if you give yourself time, you'll be amazed what you can do. You don't even need to put aside a lot of money because time is a great ally when it comes to investment because of the principle of compounding or compound interest. If you remember compound interest in school, so start and do something. And then legacy. Legacy is thinking beyond you. That's looking beyond you. And I heard this some years back and I said, wow, I'm going to work with it. I'm sure you know about the Jews. And they said that you hardly find a poor Jew. Yes, there's a spiritual side to it. I'm not going to go into it. But there's something that they do. I understand that when a Jewish couple, when they have their child, they start investing not only for the child that has been born, but for the children of that child. So you see, they cover 2 generations. And it's something that they do. So, and once money is working, you find that it will grow. And that's what I mean by legacy. But if you can't get to legacy level, at least emergency, retirement, project or lifestyle, and then educational. But if you want to be a good man, and I think there are men in the house. Are there men in the house? What does the Bible say? A good man. So be a good man and create this fund. May God add His blessings to this word. And may we be doers of the word and not hearers only. In Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. I don't know how we do the question bit. I think I've tried to stay within the time. I've tried to stay within the time. So, if there are any questions, please. If I can't answer, I'll tell you I don't know. But by the grace of God, I should be able to respond. I couldn't get into all the different investment opportunities. I've just given the principle: make investment the cornerstone. So you can come to a place like Data Bank. We are very good. We will show you how to let your money work for you. If you don't want to come to Data Bank, go somewhere else. But if you go, you come back to us. Okay, any questions from the floor?
Thank you very much, Rev. Really opened our eyes to certain things. Such talks always keeps you thinking, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? I would want to add something here that usually as Christians, and especially people with ICGC, we tend to shy away from finance when it's talked in the church. And I'm saying this for a fact. I think last year we had a program and Pastor invited somebody who spoke for finance for 3 days. On the second day, people started complaining, money this, money that, money that. But how can you attract something you don't like? I think the mindset thing is important here. People refuse to accept that you are not taught how to earn money in the house or even at school. You are taught a trade. But if you are taught in church how to make money, both spiritually and physically, and then you reject the idea, there's no way you will make it. Because the moment you start talking about pay your tithe, people are offended. The moment you talk about give and to give back to you, people are offended. Then you start talking about use money, dash money to prophets and get a prophet's reward. People are offended. When you talk every aspect of money, when you talk about it in church, people get offended. So how do you get money if you're offended about how to get it? Like you taught. I'm sure if you come tomorrow and continue Wednesday, people go war. But how would you not change that mindset and focus on attracting the thing that you want? Like you said, so with the mindset, I'm just buttressing your point. We need to realign our mind to the fact that if it is money you want, whatever you hear about it, either in church or wherever, you should embrace the message and live with it. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Karen. Reverend, I want to find out in the various instruments that you talked about. It looked quite packed to me. So I want to find out if you're a busy person. Let's say you can track your daily expenses and so on and so forth. But assuming you have a few investments in your portfolio, how do you track, especially if you have things like stocks and so on and so forth? You are focusing on your day-to-day work. Now, to be watching what stock is dropping and which one is rising and so on and so, it gets a little difficult. So, is that the point where the financial advisor comes in? And then, if you want a financial advisor, what are some of the things that you should look out for so that the little that you manage to gather, you don't lose it in the end? Thank you.
Okay. Very simple. If you want a financial advisor, guess what? Come to Data Bank. but that's already what I want to say. Okay, so how do you track? And it's true. Many people, we don't have either the time or the expertise to track. And that's why you can access the services of a professional. So there are two things I recommend. One is there is a vehicle called collective investment schemes that towards mutual funds or unit trusts. The attraction of collective investment schemes is that there is a professional fund manager whose job is to make analysis, do the research, track the markets, and make the call on which securities to buy and so on and so forth. So when you invest in collective investment schemes, apart from other benefits like diversification, ease of entry and exit, and so on and so forth, you are also benefiting from a professional fund manager who is doing his job. Recently, two of my fund managers, they went to East Africa. They spent 2 weeks in East Africa. They went to Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda. If you are doing a regular job, and they didn't go for fun, they went there to visit companies because we believe that investment success must be research driven. Okay, so we take the time, to get on the plane, to go and do the research, meet the companies, walk the streets, have a feel of because if you are buying equities, for instance, it's not just a question of looking. This name sounds nice. No, you must engage with either the CEO or the chief financial officer, ask some searching or critical questions. So you don't have the time for that. And if you plug into a collective investment scheme, it saves you. Now, there's the CIS, that's a collective investment scheme, is usually for the retail end. If you also have a lot of money, then you can also get customized service. And I believe most of the asset management companies like DataBank, if you go there, they have the customized service too. That's where you have a lot of money, and they can even come to you, they will report to you at your convenience and let you know what is happening to your investment. So that would be my recommendation, that if it becomes overwhelming because you don't have the time or you don't have the expertise, make use of the experts, and they will they can help you out. How do you pick out a good financial advisor or a good asset management company? I would say ask questions. Find out. So if whoever you approach, ask questions. What are the underlying investments that you are making? The reason why some people have bent their fingers at some institutions, I'm not going to mention any, is because they didn't ask questions. They were only chasing returns. They were told that, hey, it's good though, you get this. But it's a very dangerous thing to do. You must ask questions. Look out for the track record. Does the person or does the institution have the track record of operating in the area of managing funds? What success have they been able to achieve managing funds? Are they properly licensed by the regulator of the industry? So look out for these and try and find out, if possible, who is behind, who are the principals behind it, as well as who are the officers, those who are working. It may call for a lot of research, but money is important, so you need to put in some effort to do that. Of course, sometimes you can get a recommendation or a referral from a friend, or like how you've come to this program and you think I've spoken well and I work at DataBank, and you think that, oh, it will mean that DataBank will have something good to offer, and we do have something good to offer. So it's a question of taking time to know who you are approaching. What's the track record? What's the kind of corporate governance they have? What underlying assets or instruments do they invest in, and so on and so forth. If you go to websites or the regulator, hopefully you could get some information. But I highly recommend collective investment schemes, and then you can also make use of the personalized or customized service. I think there are two hands here. Okay, you have the mic, yes.
Okay. So my question is, what am I missing? There may be a lot of us, I may not be the only person. I think by the time I end, we'll see a lot of people find themselves in this bracket. Okay, so having a good financial background, in other words, being able to invest, you should be that versatile person, being able to make investing them in different sectors or areas of your life, per the 5 areas you, for example, mentioned. Okay, so you want to say that this is what you have gathered. It is intended for specifically a building project, which of course is also another form of investment. Now, you are not a versatile type. So all what you have gathered is geared toward completing that structure. You are not sound in financial made person. For fear of better words, what our lady said, you may not be able to track the dynamism of those so-called investment because you are not a financial person. So all your focus is geared toward completing that particular project. The building project, and that's what you need. So every earning you get goes specifically into that. Am I missing something, or is somebody missing something in this case?
Yes, you are. You know, like I said, I highly recommend creating distinct funds because you have different needs. Okay, by all means, have an emergency fund. Whether you are building job 600 or whatever you are building, keep some money in an emergency fund. When there's an emergency, can you go and break as part of the blocks and say you can? So you must have an emergency fund. Please, it's very important. Create an emergency fund. Every month, put something in because emergencies will happen without notice. Okay, and if possible, like I said, create a retirement fund. What shall it profit you? You built the house, nice, but then when it comes to retirement, there is nothing you can look, you can fall on. You'll find yourself in a very tight corner, like somebody, you are sitting in an air condition, you are sweating. Have you seen so before? In other words, you need to look at creating different funds. That's why it was my last point, distinct funds, because they serve different purposes. Emergency, don't compromise on that. And then retirement, because retirement should be a stress-free time. But if you don't manage your finances well, it could become a stressful time, and you might go earlier than appointed onto you. So I highly recommend, and please move away from the myth that, hey, me, I don't understand. Hey, me, this one is too complex for me. Me, I didn't like maths in school, or maths didn't like me. You know, move away from those myths, and tell yourself that, look, this thing is not complicated. Look, sometimes we, the finance people, like other people in other professions, we also use some big words just to, confuse you and make you feel like you have to pay us something. But really, it's not rocket science. It is not. So move away from it. I don't understand. I don't want to lose my money. Just ask questions. You may not have to be an expert in the area, but you can invest. You can. You surely can. If you don't, you are missing out big time. Yes, he has a mic.
Thank you very much. I think you touched a bit on what I wanted to ask, but I still want some clarity. In recent times, many people with the drive to invest have bent their fingers. We had some investment houses on the market that they are registered, and so people thought that they were good to take their monies there for investment. And sometimes you even see experts going there. Sometimes even financial institutions invest there, and most of them got their fingers bent. What I want to find out is if you want to invest in such institutions, are there simple things that should guide somebody so that if you see those things, immediately it raises the red flag for you to be cautious? I personally have come to a firm conclusion that if there is any financial institution that promises to give me so much profit, I am not interested in it because I have suffered so much. So now it has become a personal guiding principle. So if you immediately promise, I am giving you 50%, please, I So I want you to kindly give us some simple guidelines as to which house to invest in.
Okay, so the first thing I'll say is that please remember there's a principle in finance. There's a relationship between risk and return. The principle is that the higher the return, the higher the risk. The lower the return, the lower the risk. Unfortunately, many people want high return but low risk. Please, it doesn't work that way. And anytime you go anywhere, if they promise you, so this one is good, high return, the risk is low. Please look for the exits and go fast. Okay? But if you can tolerate the risk, then you can go ahead and invest. I'll be coming to your answer. Because, for instance, if you invest in equities or shares, the risk is higher than when you invest in, let's say, treasury bills or fixed deposits. Okay? And you must understand, it's a trade-off. There's a book I wrote, I've run out. It's called 31 Days to Financial Independence. Somewhere I wrote there that if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Don't say the kitchen is bad. The kitchen is not bad. The kitchen is designed in a way that there'll be heat there. So if you want to stay there, you must be ready to handle the heat. Not everybody can handle risk. Okay? So you must always remember there's a trade-off. If you go for high return, it means you are taking high risk. So anybody offering you a high return, it means that it is high risk. And you must ask yourself, can I take the risk? If you can't, just stay out of the kitchen. Okay, so that's a general principle. And of course, investments can go wrong. Experts can make mistakes. And the market can make all your analysis nonsense. Okay? There's something that you may have heard of a man called Warren Buffett. He's one of the wealthy people. I think the fourth richest in the world. Talking about investing in shares, he said, look, we know what will happen to shares, but we don't know when. You can do your analysis, and your analysis will tell you that it will move in this direction, and it will move in the opposite direction because there will be some other factors that would influence the price. But you see, the mistake some people would do is that they would check out because when they look at the decline in their investment, they panic and then they sell out. Now, when you sell out, you crystallize the loss. But probably if you hang in or you sweat it out, it could turn around. And I can give you an example. In 2004, I spoke in a church here in Tetteh. I can't remember, but it's near TDC. That's where it was. I can't remember the name of the church. And the wives of one of the pastors decided to invest in one of our products, EPAC, which is an equity fund. She invested 50 million gold citizens, so that's 5,000 Ghana. But at the time she came in, the market was about going down south. So by the end of the year, by the end of 2005, her 50 million or 5,000 was now about 47. Come and see, she was wild. But I told her, and she said, oh, you didn't tell me a thing and go. You know how people, when they will hear what they want to hear. I said, oh, I told you, you take it. I don't check it, don't check out. Eventually, she listened to me. By the end of the following year, the market had recovered, and she was around 60 million or 6,000. So, but if she had checked out, she would have insulted me to today that, look, I misled her. But the market behaves like that, especially when it comes to equity. So you just must understand, but that aside, yes, even an expert can make a bad decision. Look at the banks this year, if you have been following the results. Even the good ones, what are they declaring? Non-performing loans, because somebody may access the loan not with an evil intention not to pay, but then the economic environment can work against the person, and then you are in a tight place. So it's possible that an institution can get it wrong, but importantly, try and look at who is behind. Look at the capacity of the people. I mean, if a fisherman is telling you he's going to invest in stock, you want to check, to be sure what he is bringing to the table. I'm not saying that educational qualification alone, but at least when you go, if you are going to the theater and a fisherman appears to cut you up, you will prefer to keep your the sickness. Okay, so look at who is behind. If you can find out about also the corporate governance, what board they have, if you can check them with a regulator. Sometimes you can get some good information. And what track record, what have they done? If you know of a customer or an institution that has been using them, it can serve as some comfort. But the key thing is that ask questions about what they're going to do. Try and understand the risk-return characteristics of the underlying investment. That's the main thing. Because if they are going to buy shares, that should let you know that the investment can swing. Okay, so if it's even fixed income, but they are giving money to microfinance companies, they also know that the risk profile could be higher. So it's just about understanding it and asking questions. But I agree, it can be. People can make mistakes, and the good institutions, they may also have a solid balance sheet that if something goes wrong, they can support. But if the balance sheet is not strong, when the things go bad, there's no way out. Okay, I think our time is running out.
I wanted to add something, I think rightly.
Okay.
Speak about it. So if you like to invest and not too sure about where to invest, at the time now balance sheets are all published. Banks publish their balance sheets, so you get to know what their liabilities and assets are, where they are investing their shareholders, then you can know who is behind, as you rightly said. And then also you can look out for where they are investing. Some banks invest in other banks. So when you are able to talk to the people in the bank, the management positions, people in the positions of management, will be, let in on where their investments are. And then also, if you are not so comfortable with that investment, then you don't have to go in at all. And then also, when you're being given high rates, as you rightly said, lately NPLs are becoming too bad. I don't want to mention names, but if you go in and they're giving very high rates, it means that they are not liquid. So they want some money in to sort out their stuff. Because if they are very liquid, they wouldn't need your money for anything. And maybe to say, if you want to invest, he was saying about data bank. And you can also look at where the bank's ratings are. So if you can find UBA somewhere where we used to be 14, and we are now on the 4th or the 5th, you can also come and then talk to us. Thank you.
Reverend, thank you very much for your presentation. My question has to do with ratings. I know we have portfolio investments, landed property, stocks, insurance. As an expert in, please allow me, I have about 3 questions. As an expert in finance, how would you rate these kinds of investments in terms of, 1, their yield and their risk? 1, collective portfolio investment. 2, landed property. 3, stocks or insurance. And where would you advise you apply?
Okay, so that's a good loaded question, and we have 8 seconds. I would say each have their own characteristics. If you take real estate or landed property, definitely is a good asset class to have. The only thing is that if you're investing in real estate in Ghana, Accra, Tema, you have to open your eyes, shine your eyes, because it could lead to, you know how it is, multiple, sales. But I'm trying to remember. One of these great people, he talked about, I think, Mark Twain. He said land is limited, and it's not being recreated. So it's a highly recommended asset class. If you can get land or a good property, good location, it's perfect because the value typically appreciates. Okay, but if you're buying, you have to look at a number of things. What's the area? Because some investments, some area, because of activities there, the value rather goes down. But real estate is a good asset class. But I'll just add that remember when you're investing, diversification. We're taught in school that don't put all your eggs in one basket. Now, when it comes to fixed income with the banks or non-banks, the risk is typically lower. But like she said, look out for, find information about the bank that you are placing money in. Like she said, if anybody who offers you high return, it means that the person is hot and will grab any amount of money to help the situation. So you just must be a bit discerning. That's why I said, please don't go chasing rates. Ghanaians like rates too much, but fixed income the risk is lower. But if you buy government bills, treasury bills, it's said to be zero risk. Okay, so if you can't deal with risk, you don't want any dream in the night where a cockroach is chasing you with a cutlass. Just stay with buying treasury bills. You sleep soundly. Okay, but it's good. I mean, treasury bill is good. And if you take stocks, it's been proven that in the long term, stocks yield the best returns. But in the short terms, you see some volatility. And if you don't have the shock absorbers, it can rock you. So again, it depends on you, if you can deal with risk. And I, for instance, tell young people, because generally speaking, young people, you have a long time to hang around here. If you are young, you should be able to take some of these equity investment because there's a concept called the mean reversion of the market. Even if the market goes down, it won't go down forever. It may go up, come down, go up, come down. But if you draw a line, you see an upward trend. And I tell people that when it comes to buying shares, people are able to do their shopping when they travel to states or wherever. They go on shopping when there's what? Sales. Because the prices have been reduced. But the value of the products they buy have not been reduced. It's the same thing when it comes to shares. Remember, I'm going to give you a statement you should remember. When you buy shares, you pay the price, but you get value. Okay, the same way when you go on shopping. Or assuming I brought my books here, and let's say the books sell for 20 Ghana cedis, but I say, I like the atmosphere here, so I've reduced it to 10 cedis. Doesn't mean that the chapters would have reduced or the information would have reduced. It's just the price that has changed. So when it comes to shares, you must have that understanding. But if you can't deal with the risk, then you just stay with the one you can deal with. Fixed deposits or treasury bills and so on and so forth. So each asset class, they have their own risk-return characteristics, their advantages and disadvantages. But it's good to achieve diversification. And if you're in doubt, just get some advice so you can know the right thing to do a good job managing your money. I think that's that. You have a last question, follow up.
I had two questions, but
We'll have him again. Let's appreciate Reverend Ogbarmey for that insightful presentation. Hallelujah. Please take your seats.